Hi guys, Josh Lloyd here for your NBA first look for DraftKings for Friday. 7 games on across the NBA. Before I get into looking at those games, why don't you go and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Now, let's talk about these games. 7 of them across the league. The first one is the Nuggets and the Grizzlies for Denver. Gary Harris is out, while JaMychal Green and Paul Millsap are both questionable. Jaren Jackson out for Memphis, while Grayson Allen is off the injury report, so he should return. Facu Campazzo is also off the injury report for Denver. Big Chungus Nikola Jokic at 10,900. That's a really, really good one to take a look at. This has got 60 points, I think, written all over it here for Jokic. Yes, last game he had 46, but 75, 77, 61 the last 3 games. Really big opportunity here for Jokic to put up some big ones. Ja Morant at 8,100. I like that for Ja. I like it way more than spending 8,400 on Jamal Murray. He's right there. Morant still has struggles with putting up a complete fantasy game just with his lack of steals and threes, but over 44 points in the last 3 games at that 8,100 mark. I really like that. The wing guard rotation for the Grizzlies is going to be crowded. There's Brooks, there's Bane, there's Allen, there's Melton, there's Jones. Somebody is going to miss out. I don't know who it's going to be. It won't be Dylan Brooks, but I don't feel particularly comfortable in using him. I do feel okay about looking at Jonas Valanciunas, 7,700. Jonas had 67 points last game. Unlikely he recovers and does that again. He's okay. I don't think he's a great value play. In fact, this game in general doesn't have great value plays. I think Murray at 84 is probably too high, while Michael Porter at 7,400. I'd only want to use Mick at that salary if Green and Millsap are out. Otherwise, it just gets too squishy for those minutes with Barton, with Morris, with Facu, with Green, and with Millsap getting that playing time. Not much else that really appeals. Brandon Clark, Kyle Anderson, Melton, Morris. I don't really like a ton in this game, apart from the big guys at the top, Ja Morant and Nikola Jokic. Next game is the Philadelphia 76ers. They are taking on the Washington Wizards. Of course, this is a back-to-back for Philadelphia. They could get Joel Embiid back, but it doesn't look like they're going to get Ben Simmons back. Embiid is at 10-7, and a matchup for Embiid without Simmons against the Wizards. Holy shit, that looks awesome. Bradley Beal also is questionable for Washington. So that's a worry, I guess, because if Beal is out, there's real blowout potential here, which might limit what Embiid can do. Now, with Simmons out, they have been starting Matisse Thybulle, and he put up an excellent game on Thursday. So at almost minimum salary for Matisse, that looks really promising. And then you'd have to look at Russell Westbrook, who's been putting up some really strong numbers lately, Russ. At 10,200, 47, 65, 58 the last 3. And if Beal is out, he's just going to take every shot possible. Beal's at 9-7. I'm not sure I'm ready to go that direction. And one guy that we could consider, if he wasn't against the Sixers, would be Flaming Mo Wagner at 3,300, but I worry about the Embiid matchup there. Shake Milton is probably too high at 5,800, while Tobias Harris is all the way up at 8,300. That is edging to me towards being on the high side. Not interested in Hachimura, but if Beal is out, he will get more opportunities, and he's at 5,500. I would only want to use it in a GPP type setting, not in cash, because he's actually horrible. But there is an opportunity for him to have maybe a 30-point out-of-the-box performance, especially if Beal happens to be sidelined. And if Beal is out, you could look at someone like Troy Brown Jr., who's a minimum salary player, who Scott Brooks hates, but maybe he gives him an extra opportunity. And at 3,000, he doesn't need to do a huge amount to actually return that value there. But that would only be in the scenario, to me, where Bealo happens to be sidelined. Next up, we've got the Cavs and the Pelicans. First game back for Cleveland. Larry Nance will return. Unsure about Kevin Love and Darius Garland. If I had to guess, I'd say both of those guys were out. That's just a guess, but that's mainly coming from the fact that they signed Quinn Cook to a 10-day with the expectation, I think, that that Garland will not play in this game, but that's speculation. It is a back-to-back for the Pelicans, but they were able to get some rest because they got spanked by the Wolves. Brandon Ingram, 8,300, probably on the high side, but the matchup does work for me. 7,000 for Lonzo Ball also, I think, is looking pretty good, and I'd be really interested in the Padawan Colin Sexton if Garland is out, because he's going to play like 46 minutes. He's going to be the only guy out there a lot of this time, getting a lot of shots. He's averaging already 53 over the last 3. He looks strong to me. Larry Nance could work if Kevin Love is out. You worry about the time that Nance has missed, but his recent games, 12 points, 16 points, 29 points, 7 points, like not particularly good from a DraftKings perspective. I'm not not totally in on him, and the salary feels a little bit high. 9-1 for Zion. I think this could be a good matchup for Williamson, so I'd be happy to use him. I wouldn't want to use Garland because I think he'd be a little bit banged up. And I think 8-6 for Jarrett Allen is also floating on the high side. I don't mind Josh Hart at 5,000, just as a cash play with very limited tournament upside. Your Chicago Bulls. I guess there is some question here with the Bulls as to whether they play Porter in the back-to-back or play Markkanen. Now, Porter was pretty good in that first game, despite them getting absolutely trucked by the Sixers. And the absence of Porter and the potential absence of Markkanen changes quite a bit for Thad Young. I wouldn't be super confident with Young at 5,700, but I don't mind it. Jimmy Butler's at 9-2 for the Heat. And I guess the question we have there is whether Bam Adebayo is going to play. I do like Butler's opportunity here against Chicago to drop a 50, though. Wendell Carter at 59 look horrible against Philadelphia. Really, really struggled. I'd be avoiding him. And then 9-6 for the skater boy, Zach LaVine. It's probably edging a little bit on the high side to me. I'm not super into it. I'm more into, say, a 5,600 for Tyler Hero. That could work as a GPP upside option. And, of course, Kelly Olynyk at 5,700. If we hear that Bam is out, that looks really strong. I probably would avoid it in a scenario where Adebayo is playing. But at this point, we just don't know that. Next game, it is the Orlando Magic and the San Antonio Spurs. There's going to be no Evan Fournier or no James Ennis and no Cole Anthony once again for the Magic. No LaMarcus Aldridge, of course, for San Antonio. He will not play for them ever again. Derek White. Now, people are going to be pretty annoyed with what Derek White did last game. He had 8.5 DraftKings points. He is under 5,000. 4,900. I will use him. No problem with that whatsoever. It was shithouse last game from him. No denying that. The previous game, he had 44. So at 4,900, if you get me 25, I'm already happy. And the upside for him is absolutely massive. DeJounte's at 7,500. The matchup works. I think it probably is a little bit too high. I'm not completely in on it. Well, Jakob Poeltl, I would have liked his salary to drop after the disappointment of last game. 6,100 is okay, but 12 and 14 the last two games is not great. Only for GPPs. He can very easily beat it, but I don't have that confidence in him. Rudy Gay is up to 5,200. I actually like that for Gay, especially for cash games. He will play probably a little bit of backup center here with Trey Lyles and Drew Eubanks stinking. Nikola Vucevic is at 10,300, which is pretty good. I do like that for Vuce in this matchup against the Spurs. It is a back-to-back, so I guess that has some level of concern. While Carter Williams at 6,300, I'm just concerned in general. That's a little bit too high for me with Mick. Now, the next game is the Houston Rockets and the Utah Jazz. The Rockets really mixing things up with their starting lineup on Thursday, taking PJ Tucker out. There is a chance there's no John Wall or Victor Oladipo in this game. We don't know that for sure. Wall missed Thursday. I'd assume that Oladipo misses on the back-to-back, but we just don't know. 3,200 for Kevin Porter Jr. It will be his second game for this team. I think he's worth a GPP flyer. While Mike Conley at 64 for the Jazz is probably a little bit on the high side. I tell you who I do like for Houston, though, and that's Justin Patton, 4,900. Should beat that number relatively easily. And then other Rockets players, we don't know if Daniel House is going to play. It is a back-to-back for Eric Gordon, so he might sit that one out as well. So I guess we can take a look at guys like the Wild Thing, Jayshawn Tate, although he is up at 5,800. And Sterling Brown would be the one that I'd really want to pay some attention to. He's at 4,500, Sterlo. And real opportunities with maybe Oladipo, maybe Wall, maybe Gordon, all sitting out. For the Jazz, Rudy Gobert, 7,800. You got to like that one, especially against this Rockets team who will probably struggle to stop him. I think 8,800 for Don Mitchell is probably too high in what could turn out to be a blowout. The last game of the day, we've got the Indiana Pacers and the Los Angeles Lakers. No Marc Gasol, once again, for the Lakers. He's still dealing with the COVID protocols. Of course, there's no Anthony Davis in this one as well. No Karis LeVert or TJ Warren for the Pacers. The Lakers are 4.5-point favorites. The total is 217.5. Montrezl Harrell's at 6,000. He's probably going to come off the bench, but he should get enough minutes to beat that number. While LeBron's at 10,400. And it's probably a little high for LeBron, but he is averaging 56 his last three. Pretty hard to completely ignore him on a day where value on DraftKings is pretty tough to come by. I don't mind looking at Marquis Morris at 4,300 with those absences of Gasol and of Davis. He can easily get you 25 or 26, which is fine for cash. Brogdon's at 8,000, too high for me. While Schroeder at 62, I do really like. Great upside value for Schroeder and cash floor with the absence of Anthony Davis there. Miles Turner at 63, I'm not all that interested in. Same with Kyle Kuzma. While Domantas Sabonis at 9,900, that just feels too high. 10,000 for Sabonis. I can spend 10,000 on Vooch, and I'd probably get a better response out of that. Not interested in Lamb, Caldwell Pope, or Doug McDermott either. Right, that'll drop us through all of those games now. That's all of them. They're done. In terms of value right across the board, Derek White stands out to me at 4,900, although there is a risk there. I like Jokic. I like Keldon Johnson a little bit. Montrezl Harrell, Kevin Porter, Rudy Gobert, Joel Embiid if he plays, Thibault, Ingram, Lonzo, LeBron, and Josh Hart, along with Russell Westbrook, especially if we do hear that Bradley Beal is out. Guys, don't forget, subscribe. Hit the notification button. Follow me, and you can find my channel in the title and in the description. Just click the link there. Josh Lloyd Fantasy Basketball. Guys, we are done here. Thanks for watching, everyone. See ya.